For my first interview, I selected Caru Das at the Hindu temple in Spanish Fork, Utah. Charu's been a friend for many years, and his insights into life and into religion are astounding. I hope you'll enjoy this interview with Caru as he answers the 3 dream questions. I'm starting an interview with Caru Das at Spanish Fork at the Hindu temple in Spanish Fork, the Krishna temple. And I'm going to ask the 3 questions now. Okay, Caru, we've known each other a long time. People ask me, what's your home ward? And I always say, I think it's in Spanish Fork at the Hindu temple. I was raised LDS. And I've had different experiences where people have asked me, who's your spiritual leader, who's your bishop, who's your guru, whatever. And you've always been right there at the top of the list of people who I know that practice and what they preach, and then preach what they practice as well.
Thank you.
And I'd like to ask you the first of the 3 questions, which is currently, what are your dreams, aspirations, and hopes? What keeps you going?
It's not a specific dream because my mind is limited, and I know that God can take me to places beyond the furthest reaches of my imagination. If God had told me back in the early 80s where I'd be now with 1 temple opened in Spanish Fork, Utah, 15 acres of land, a world-class tourist destination, a radio station, color festival that reaches 60 to 100,000 people a year, 2nd temple opening in Salt Lake City. If he told me even a part of that back in 1980, I would have probably had a brain hemorrhage. And at that time, I wasn't capable of even dreaming where I would be today in 2019. And so I'm also acknowledging that where God wants to take me going into the future is going to be beyond anything that I can imagine or dream. We've only just gotten started here. And so rather than saying I'm dreaming for specific things like a 3rd or 4th temple or more land or more festivals, I'll just say that my dream is to always stay right in the middle of what God wants for me. And knowing that with his wind behind my sails, I'll end up in places that just like in 1980, if Krishna had told me what he had in mind, I would have probably had a brain hemorrhage and dropped dead on the spot. So I'm glad that, I don't know what God has in mind for me, because I would probably just drop dead because of the scope of it, the grandeur, the majesty of it. It said that, take your imagination, stretch it as far as you can, dream the impossible dream, and then God will take that and supersize it. So let me just be a faithful servant. Let me be a particle of dust at his lotus feet. And I pray that he never kicks me away.
Thank you. It's beautiful. My gosh. The next question is, if you went back to your teenage years up to now, and you've already alluded to this, that your dreams or something that you wouldn't have dreamed what's going on right now, but what were your thoughts and your dreams and aspirations earlier in your life?
I had a religious upbringing, so to speak. My parents were pious and went to church every Sunday, and I was obliged to go with them. But I don't think that Christianity that I grew up with was liberating. It wasn't particularly empowering. I wouldn't say it was repressing, like the old Bible bashers and Firestone and Fire and Brimstone. I wouldn't say it was repressing, but I wouldn't say it was liberating either. And so since my teenage years, I've had the good fortune to come into Krishna consciousness. The Vedic literatures, Bhagavad Gita, found out about Lord Krishna and his appearance. And it's been a process of expansion, of unfoldment, enlarging your vision, taking the limits off of God. Again, rather than anything specific, I would just say, take advantage of all the resources, the association, the people who challenge you, inspire you, and lift you up, the scriptures, watch your diet, be careful about what books you read and what movies you choose, and be lifted up, be expanded. Allow God to take you to the places that He wants you to go.
I think you've answered the second question, the third question as well, about advice you would give to people who are just starting out.
We're very insignificant. We're just like a pinpoint amongst so many other pinpoints on a planet, which itself is like a pinpoint in the universe, which is like a pinpoint amongst all the universes. But having said that, if you line your small self up with the unlimited Lord who created all those millions and millions of universes, then you can do anything. You can do anything. There's no limit to what you can't do it, but God can do it through you. I think, what was it, Longfellow, he said, though from out the bourne of time and space the flood will bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I've crossed the bar.
Thank you very much. This is my first interview.
Well, I wish you many, many more happy interviews.
Yeah, well, I think you've set the bar rather high, sir. It's a high bar to follow. You've touched me. I've heard you preach. I've heard you talk for over the last 25, 30 years almost. And this is absolutely inspiring. And I hope that enough people watch this that they'll share it and share the message. And next week, who's going to be the Color Fest here, the Holly Fest.
We've got 43,000 people on our Facebook page that say they're interested or going.
Wow. And that's just the one here?
Just the one here.
Wow. And then you've got
we have 8 others in 3 different states.
My goodness. And the one up in Salt Lake is?
June 8th.
June 8th. Oh, wow. All righty. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Haribo.